The chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee has called on the government to ban two American activists from entering the country ahead of next weekend's Armed Forces Day. Keith Vaz says the Home Secretary should act to stop Pamela Geller, who leads the American Freedom Defense Initiative, and Robert Spencer, who founded the website called Jihad Watch, from joining a walk to Woolwich in the company of the leader of the English Defence League, Tommy Robinson. We'll speak to Keith Vaz in a moment about that. But let's hear first from Mr. Robinson about what he's planning.
What I'm doing is I'm doing a charity walk, which I put up to walk from Westminster to Woolwich to raise money for an armed forces charity. I'm doing it just myself and Kevin Carroll. There's just two of us doing the walk, which was how we played it since day one. Then a lot of people contacted saying they wish to join us on this walk.
So it's just, it just happens that you've got a lot of people walking rather than just the two of you.
Well, no, it's just the two of us. It's a 9-mile walk, but for the final stretch of the walk, there's a lot of people that wanted to come and lay flowers with us, and a lot of members of the public have been contacting in support.
So you were walking there just to mark Armed Forces Day.
Yeah, we're not walking there as the English Defence League. If you go on our website, you'll see that we're encouraging people not to wear English Defence League clothing. This is not about the English Defence League.
Have you actually asked your members to join you on that march or not?
No.
But they are anyway.
Well, if members of the public wish to join us and walk, then they can. What you have to remember is this is Armed Forces Day.
Yeah, I know
Every year, we support Armed Forces Day. We are members. We may be members of the English Defence League, but we are also proud supporters of our armed forces.
What about this invitation for Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer? Have you issued that invitation to them?
I speak with Pamela and Robert all the time. And
have you invited them to come?
A lot of Americans have felt touched by what happened with Lee Rigby and felt a lot of pain as well with us, especially so close to the Boston Jihad attack. Now, because it's Armed Forces Day, they want to come and show solidarity with the British Armed Forces. I believe they may have a famous war hero coming with them, an American one.
So you invited them? So you tell me, first of all, that it's just you and a mate going to walk just to raise a bit. And the next thing we know, the EDL are all on the march and you're inviting people from America. I mean, we haven't done that by accident.
You're explaining that completely different. People are free to come to this country. They're defenders of freedom of speech.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But I mean, you're telling me that none of this is organised, but I'm saying to you,
Who said none of this is... Why are you're putting words in my mouth?
You said there was just two of you going for a walk and a lot of people decided to join in.
Two of us are doing a 9-mile walk.
Yes.
Now, when we get to lay flowers, other people are going to join us in laying flowers of members of our armed forces. And it happens that Pamela and Robert feel strongly and passionately about this, that they're flying in to show solidarity with the British Armed Forces on behalf of their American supporters. Now, I think that's great that they're spending their own money and coming to this country to show support for our armed forces.
The suspicion is really, what you're not about is showing support for the armed forces. What you're about is stirring up trouble.
They're not actually. Pamela and Robert will be attending another English Defence League demonstration where we will be addressing the issues of jihad and addressing the issues of Islam and Sharia law in this country. But it will not be on Armed Forces Day. On Armed Forces Day, they're coming to lay flowers and show solidarity. If we wanted to have speeches and give speeches, we would. But we're not choosing Armed Forces Day because that's not what Armed Forces Day is about.
So why? Yeah, you're going. I mean, Islam is not a race; it's an ideology, an extreme ideology, the most radical and extreme ideology on the face of the earth.
That's fair. That's a fact.
That's fact.
Again,
that's fair. And you're only trying to check which quotes you agree with and which ones you don't agree with.
Well, when you say an ideology, it's not a religion, it's an ideology, it's a complete way of life. Tax, inheritance, law, every single thing. It's an ideology. That's the fact. That's a fact.
Well, look,
what Pamela Geller said. You need to understand the difference between a religion.
Okay, then let me ask you just about. I've only got 1 minute left. Let me ask you about the march to Woolwich and why you choose to go to Woolwich when you know perfectly well that Lee's own parents say, "Look, don't use his name as an excuse for attacks. Please let us show respect." Is that what you want?
We're not going to attack. Have we not just established that we're just going to lay flowers in respect of our armed forces? Lee's own family asked people to do it peacefully. What we want is peace, but we haven't got it. And we will be in Woolwich because we're members of the British public. We support our armed forces. We don't want to see them attacked. And the ongoing hatred against our armed forces, which is spreading like a cancer across this country, needs to stop.
Right, that's Tommy Robinson. And let's speak to Keith Vaz, Chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee, who thinks that these two should not be allowed. What do you say to that, Mr. Vaz?
Peter, I've heard you interview a number of people over the years, but I don't think I've ever heard you so upset with someone you're interviewing.
Well, I was not trying to sound upset. I was merely trying to
I know that,
elaborate the facts. I mean, what he says is, we're going for a walk. All right, you might not like the man, you might not like his policies. He's going to lay flowers. There are a couple of people coming from America. They're going to lay flowers. Do you really have a case to say don't let them in?
Well, I think you put that case very well in the questions that you asked. They're not just going for a walk in Woolwich to lay flowers. Why is it that two people, Pamela Geller and her colleague Robert Spencer, want to come all the way from the United States of America in order to lay flowers in Woolwich? What have they got to do with the tragedy that occurred in Woolwich? I mean, this organisation, the American Freedom Defence Initiative, has been widely considered as a hate organisation. It recently placed adverts.
You're a lawyer, and widely considered as is not really acceptable, is it? I mean, who says?
Well, we're not in court now, Peter.
No, but nevertheless, you're making the allegation, and I have to defend it.
I consider it, frankly. It recently placed adverts on the transport system of several cities calling Muslims savages. Now, do we really want to add to the difficulties that have been faced by the people of Woolwich and the family of Lee Rigby? Do we really want to add to their distress by having this kind of activity when there is the whole country to choose from? The whole country, if they chose to have this demonstration, they choose to do it here. And I think they've done this for a reason. It's not a little walk down a street in London. This is a serious political message that they're trying to get across. And that's why I've written to the Home Secretary to ask her to consider all this before she makes a judgment. In the end, it's her judgment. We as politicians and as representatives can only put our case forward. Theresa May will have all the information, some public, some will be in private, and she will have to make that decision.
That's Keith Vaz, thank you, Chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee. It's now 5:45.